What's up, my humans? You have reached the Conscious Hotline. This is episode 2. I'm your host, Altaire, and I'm bringing on one of my favorite people on planet Earth, and that is Laxmi. Even though she's from completely divine origins, she has agreed to grace us with her presence today. She's going to talk to us money miracles, and how money can actually be one of our lovers in this lifetime.
Hello, lovely queen.
Hey, honey, look at you. Yes,
Look
where
at you
are
in your gold blazer.
You know, I'm just trying to get on your level.
I love it. Well, we are on the same level, queen. I'm so blessed and grateful to be here with you, bringing you in closer. I'm in this like gorgeous healing room on a lake, like just totally blissed out, ready to dive into money talk.
As you should be, as you should be. So
wanted...
here on the Conscious Hotline, because you've dialed in, you have to pay the toll. And that toll is, first off, a question. It's an edgy question. It's a dangerous question. And you haven't had any time to prepare for this question. What is on my mind? What I think is on everyone's mind when having a conversation with the goddess of abundance herself? I need to know, honey, what is your guiltiest pleasure?
Oh, God. There are so many. My mind is like flooded. I'm like, satanic ritual. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds sexy.
I don't know.
My guiltiest pleasure. Ooh, I feel like I'm on a bridge and you're a troll, and on the other side is like the Garden of Eden, and I'm like, but I want to go play. Okay. My guiltiest pleasure, I hate to admit it, but I really do love diving into the Kardashians. I'm not gonna lie. I just, like, I saw this meme that put it perfectly. It was like, yo, Kris Jenner took 5 kids with no talent and turned them all into multimillionaires or billionaires. Like, if that woman doesn't deserve an accolade for that, I don't know who does. And so I just, I love business and I love money. And so I love watching them because I'm like, okay, how did they do it? Literally, they were just lawyers' kids. And then they took this like hot button case that he worked on and created a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Right.
And they're all doing different things in creative ways. And they really put their business out there. And like, they're wildly vulnerable, even in their own like superficial Hollywood way. Like, none of us are, 24/7 on film like they are. So I'd say that's my guiltiest pleasure.
Okay. And what a brilliant segue into the world of money and the money love story, because I love our title, Money, a Love Story, because I have to say that for most people, their relationship with money is not a love story. It is a tragedy. It is a Shakespearean tragedy. Or maybe it's like a one-night stand, right? They get it, they lose it, it's gone. Talk to us about what it means to have a love story with something that is so often considered cold and hard and the source of so much suffering for people. How can you possibly fall in love with something like money? Is that even morally appropriate?
Mm-hmm. And then there's the whole balance of like, money's the source of all evil and I'm not evil, so I can't love money because that makes me wrong and bad. So I want to start answering that question with an invocation. And, I make them up all the time. They're always different, but I do something like this pretty much every day, oftentimes while holding a stack of cash, because what better way to honor yourself and your love for money than by like putting yourself with it, putting it in your clothes, putting it inside your pillowcases. Like, that's like part of the journey of manifesting money, is being able to comfortably bathe in it, right? And so, a money invocation is something like, in my prayers to God, I'll say, I'm calling upon my ancestors. I am releasing any plagues of poverty that have traversed my family for generations. I'm breaking the chains of poverty for myself, for others, for this planet. I'm elevating consciousness by creating the abundance that already exists within me and sharing it with everyone. God already wants me to have what I want so that I can help heal my brothers and sisters on this planet. And he wants me to be resourced, or, he, she, universe, Gaia, insert your definition of God into that. And so may I be blessed, may I be abundant, and may I share it, and may I thrive. And so it is, right? And so, yeah. And so, you know, doing some sort of a money invocation and combining spirit and money, right? Because if you are to believe that everything was created in divine order, as I do, and everything is exactly the way that it should be, even in all of its imperfections, then money is part of that system. And money is just energy, and energy can be neither created or destroyed. And I remember in college, I dated a millionaire, and I had never been a millionaire. I did not come from an environment in which I was surrounded by millionaires, and that wasn't in my family history. And I remember he stayed with me. Like, at first we were just coworkers, and he had like stayed with me because he was from out of town, and we were working at the seminar company, and he was paying me to stay with me. And I was like, don't pay me, money's gross. And like, I literally remember giving him back the money that he gave me, being like, I don't want your money, yuck, money, just like take me to dinner or something. And I am so glad I dated him, because he was like, money's gross, what are you talking about? Money's gonna buy that dinner. Like, you got some work to do around money. And like, in being with this gentleman who had manifested millions before he was 30, he like showed me how to really step into loving and honoring money as a connection to God and spirit, and like allowing God to give to me so I can give to others and create impact. So money is not evil or bad. Money is actually, like, some would say Christ consciousness, you know, because like, if God is abundance, if God is love, then God wants us to have everything we want, and money helps us get there. And so I would say, like, my spirituality and my love for money are deeply connected. Absolutely. And that's why like tithing is such a big deal. Now I do that in a different way, but like for all the money I make, I give away 10%. Mm-hmm. And so whether that's like giving to an organization or helping a family member or giving back to the orphanage that my dad is from in India, like immediately when I get money, I allocate 10% to go into something, even if it's like my brother's college account or like, you know what I mean? Like it shifts around to different things depending on the need.
Right.
But I think that also helps the flow, because givers gain. The more you give, the more you get.
Yes. That polarity of giving and receiving, they happen in combination with one another. They cannot be separated unless we create lives and lifestyles where we focus on giving and giving and giving and giving. And I think both of you know what it's like. Both of us know what it's like to give from scarcity and to be really poor at receiving. Mm-hmm. Right. So I love that you brought up the Kardashians, because Kylie is a billionaire, right?
The world's youngest. She beat Mark Zuckerberg.
Right. Okay. So, you know, when you and I think about accumulating resources, when you and I think about accumulating wealth, we immediately think about where we can give and contribute those resources, right, in order to help create paradise on earth, as you so beautifully put in our first interview. So when I look at someone like Kylie, who's manifested billions of dollars, you know, how much could we put even 10% of that toward fighting something like climate change, toward dealing with a crisis like the one that's happening in Palestine right now, for instance? Mm-hmm. So,
or Yemen.
You know, what do you think? If money is energy and money is an energetic current that we can manifest in a spiritual relationship with money, what would you say is the reason for folks coming into vast amounts of wealth, but being somehow deeply unhappy, deeply miserable, causing unhealthy power dynamics in their family as a result of accumulating that wealth? How would you interpret that?
I work with a lot of those individuals in my coaching company. I specialize in helping people manifest love into their lives. And I work with a lot of like single individuals that, you know, have the house and the cars and the yacht club memberships and the golf club memberships and like private jets and all that thing. And I've definitely seen like this correlation of the richer you are, the more unhappy you are. And there's this narrative of people want me for my money. People want me so they can take from me. And that's scarcity mentality. So that's another thing of like a money love story. You don't have to be rich to love money. You don't have to be rich to dive into abundance thinking. it's not about how much you have, it's about how much you are aware that you have spiritually and like in your aura and essence. And so these people that have a lot of material wealth may be spiritually bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think the correlation between your higher calling and your resources have to be enmeshed. And I also think, you know, my dad, he's so wise and brilliant. And he always says, people who do bad business, it manifests as sickness in their children. Mm-hmm. So you see crazy high rates of heroin addiction and suicide in top 10% families. Mm-hmm. You know, we know drug addiction is rampant in really wealthy communities in their children. And my dad's like, well, you know, it's all karma catches up to you. And so I think there's different ways of manifesting abundance and different ways of going about it. And if you're betraying your soul contract, or you're betraying other human beings on this planet, or if you're betraying the planet itself, that's not going to be your way to happiness. You know, that's not going to, you may have the money, but you're spiritually bankrupt. So there's a disconnect here. Beautiful. And so I think it's all about alignment, you know, and that's why when I pray for money, I'm praying to God. I'm not praying to Wall Street, right? I'm not praying to the CEO of a Fortune 500 company or some man. Like, I'm praying to my own spirit and my own higher consciousness and my own goddess Laxmi. Like, even in prepping for this morning, I woke up and I was like, I got to get in the mood. Like, I had a sore throat, wasn't feeling that great. Like, what am I going to do? I just put out a Lakshmi mantra. And then I was like, Mahalakshmi Jagatnahe Vishnu Patni Chadilahi. And it's like, you know, just calling in my own self can really put me in the mood to manifest and create. And then sure enough, someone like texted me this morning and was like, I just want to Venmo you for being a light in my life. And I'm like, that's great. Thank you. And so it's like being on that plane where you're just like in money consciousness. And then people will literally just give you money for like existing in the world versus like that scarcity mindset of like, well, I don't want to be destroying the environment by drilling in the Arctic Circle, but I have to because my boss or my shareholders or, you know what I mean? It's that like not seeing other avenues of creating wealth.
Yes. Okay. Beautiful. You know, and I love these practical examples. You know, like I was telling someone the other day, like, oh, I'm really bummed. I got 2 of these parking violation tickets. It adds up to like over 200 francs. I'm bummed about it. And they were like, oh, I'll get that for you. I got that. I was like, thank you. You know, let's talk practicality, because what if someone has like this toxic relationship with money? What if someone has just this like really unaligned, even like abusive relationship with money? You know, they don't feel worthy of it. They don't thank it. They don't want it. It represents something negative in their lives. They think they don't need it. I can get by without it. Let's say someone's starting there and also they're struggling financially. You know, what are some ways, what is the step-by-step process of telling the universe, hey, sorry, I take it back. Let's like, I'm sorry we broke up. I really want to get back together. How do people go about doing that? How do you get it back?
Yeah, I just want to take a moment to thank you for bringing it down to that level, because I think theories and philosophy is where we can live, but it's like the day to day. So let me just be super real with y'all. Like, there were times in my life where my family was on food stamps. There was times in my life where I, you know, worked at a recycling center sorting through garbage for $8 an hour to pay my rent. Like, this journey of loving money has come from exactly that experience of like, money is wrong and bad. Money is destroying the environment. Money is for selfish people. And so I've had to live that journey that you're asking me about. And I think it started with, if you can see it, you can be it. So for me, it was, you are the 7 people you surround yourself with. Given my name being Lakshmi, like, she is the goddess of abundance. If you Google her, she is pictured in a lotus flower with gold coins pouring out of her palms. She is considered the abundance of like knowledge and wisdom and power and love. And like, it's abundance in the greater sense. Like, abundance is not just money. And when we're abundant in everything, then we are truly abundant. Beautiful. And so, I mean, the day to day of like, it starts with, you know, looking at your money paradigms. A great book for that is I'm a Badass at Making Money. And she's got all kinds of great writing exercises and resources. So I highly recommend that book. And then second, I think, is putting money on your altar. Like, if you go to my dad's house, Every doorway has money on it. Every windowsill, there's like pots of coins everywhere. There's international money taped to the walls. Like there's just money everywhere because my dad is just a master manifestor. And he's like, you are what you become. Surround yourself with money. You want more money? Like put it everywhere. Like tell everyone, you know, like make it abundant because then people will pay your parking tickets. People will Venmo you for existing. Like, and not just that it's about people because the universe definitely provides. So get comfortable with your conversations around money. Get comfortable with looking at the narratives you were raised with around money. Figure out what works for you in relation to those because some will and some won't resonate. And then really push yourself to put money in your sphere. So both physically around you and like I said, if you are broke, maybe it's a nickel, maybe it's a quarter. Like it doesn't need to be $100 bill. You know, these are a bunch of 20s. I'm not pretending to be like, I've got hundreds everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, you know, start where you're at and be honest about that. And then I think a big part is it's self-worth. It's the work. And you can't go under it. You can't go over it. You have to go through it. And until you can stand in your power and look a fellow queen goddess in the eye and say, you know, I'm worth it. Whatever it is, I am worth it. You know, I charge my clients $1,100 a day. People are like, wow, that's so much money. And I'm like, are you kidding me? My last client told me I should be charging $1,500 and that my time is immeasurable. Like, how can you quantify time with a goddess? Are you kidding me? Like, for $1,500, steal the deal. Are you kidding? Like,
yes.
You know?
I love that. How many stories and narratives are there around how much money we should expect to have? I was in herbalism school, sat down in a class. We had a business owner of an apothecary come in to talk to us about setting up a business after school, how you can actually become an entrepreneur with your herbalism company, your herbalism project. And the very first thing she said, Laxmi, you're not going to be able to believe this, right? So the very first thing she said was, consider the fact that you need to be living somewhere with a very low cost of living, because you're not going to make more than $40,000 a year.
That was her intro to the talk?
Yes, that was the first thing that she said, right? And like, as an herbalist, as a healer now, I can make that in 4 months. You know, I'm hoping to be able to, you know, and I'm just getting started. You know, I graduated less than a year ago.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful about what we tell ourselves, how much we're worth, right?
100%. That inner dialogue. I mean, what is it? I forget exactly, but I think it's 70% of our actions are subconscious. It might even be 80 or 90. Do you know the exact percentage?
I don't know. I know we have something like majority 50,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah, and the majority of those thoughts are just subconscious programming. And so that's why you heard in my vocation, I'm calling on my ancestors. I'm breaking chains of poverty that have plagued my family for generations. Like there's kings and queens in my ancestry, and there's also, you know, farm workers and slaves in my ancestry. And so it's calling them all in and being like, hey, everybody, we're all on this team. We've been elevating. I need y'all supporting me, helping me, getting there. And it's just incredible when you have the ancestors on your side. It's like, I've got 10,000 people behind me. Like, you know what I mean? What's this $40,000 a year cap you were saying? Yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking and shocking. And it speaks to the limiting beliefs, because if you believe that you can only make 40,000 as an herbalist, then you will. You know, that was my experience as a school teacher, where I was working 100 hours a week. I was running 4 after school clubs. I was doing field trips on weekends because the school wouldn't let me do field trips. So I was doing like a private club where I'd take my kids out into nature and take them camping and do interesting activities that they would never otherwise experience. And I was making $34,000 before taxes. And it worked out to something like $2.60 an hour. And I was just like, this is poverty. I didn't have the energy for a side hustle, first of all. So it wasn't like, oh, I can still be a teacher and make money. It's like, I'm working 100 hours a week. I'm working from 6 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night, 7 days a week, and all through summer. People are like, oh, teachers get the summer off. We didn't have summers off. And so it was like, I want to do good work. I want to be in service to the world. And I have to be rich to do that, because the more wealth we have, the greater impact we can have. And we see that both ways, right? Like we see people like Jeff Bezos, who is richer than the next richest person by over $160 billion. Like in terms of the richest people in the world, he is that much richer than the next person, which is like this huge difference in wealth. And he could literally eradicate poverty. He could literally eradicate famine and hunger. And he has so much impact. And he's choosing to live his own life and be on his own karmic journey. Now, I know that that's going to impact him. He may come back. I would not want to be his reincarnate, whatever he comes back as. But then there's also people like, you know, Oprah Winfrey. She's also a billionaire. And how many billions of people's lives has she touched? You know, and so it's like the more money you have, the greater impact you can have. The more money you have, the more people you can help. The more you charge for your services, the more you can give to the people that you want to give to. You know, that's another thing I think healers and coaches struggle with is like, well, I didn't get into this business to like take from people. I want to give to people. And it's like, great. Well, give to yourself so you can give to others. Because the human body is a battery. And if you're not recharging, you got no charge to give. And there are literally, like you said, your friend or the friend that was like, I'll cover your parking tickets. Like there are people who have abundance and are happy to give because it gives them a joy of giving. And like, if they've got it to give, there should be no guilt or shame around receiving it. Like, let it flow, take the money, accept it. Like literally this money right here, like who has cash anymore? This was my healer friend. She was just like, I got paid today, take this money. And I was like, why? I don't want your money. Keep it. We're in a pandemic. And she's like, take the money. I have to give the money when I get it. Like, you know how it works. You have to take this money. And I was like, okay, I'll take it. You know? So it's like, you just like accept what comes to you, accept your worth, accept your value, and really work on that abundance mindset, especially when you come from an environment or a community in which there's a lot of naysayers. That's big, right? Like my mom was like, I can't believe you're charging $150 an hour. I never made that as a nurse. Like that is unjust. Like I was saving people's lives. What are you doing? And then she came back literally the next day and called me and was like, I really want to apologize to you. That was all my own stuff. It is incredible. You are worth $600, $1,000, $10,000 an hour. Like your time is infinite. I just wish I would have learned that at 26. And I'm proud of you for knowing it now because it's taken me 50 years, you know? So that's really powerful too. It's like having those conversations with your parents, because if we can't speak it into existence, we can't be it.
All right, honey. Well, I think that you've just blessed everyone listening to this podcast. We have some actionable tips to go out into the world to know that the abundance that is outside of us is a reflection of how abundant we feel on a day-to-day basis, on our own self-worth, on investigating with curiosity our subconscious beliefs about money, what we might have been taught in our family of origin, and how we can transmute those narratives to ultimately become more powerful sources of healing on this planet, because we have the freedom, the flexibility, and that fire to go out into the world and do what we love, because we have fanned the flames of our own self-worth and our own self-love. Woo! 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 Ah!
Yes, it gets hot on the Conscious Hotline. I love it.
It's hot.
Amen.
Right. So let's wrap up this convo. I want to thank you. I want to bless you for the goddess that you are. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for sharing your time with us. And I have one final question for you. If there was a candle on a cupcake, your favorite flavor cupcake right in front of you, right? And you could blow out that candle and make a wish, what is your wish today?
It's a vegan double chocolate cupcake.
Love that.
The flame is rainbow sparkles, or like the candles, rainbow sparkles. And my wish, it sounds so dorky, but I'm going to sing a Rascal Flatts song. My wish for you is that this life could be all that you wanted to. Your worries stay small, your dreams stay big. So yeah, that everyone on this planet feel that literally they are capable of creating and manifesting anything that they want for themselves. And there's countless people that have done it before you. Study the greats. you know, and yeah, that's my wish. That's my wish for you. Do your dreams
So
stay big and your
powerful.
worries stay small.
We're going to make sure that we have your details right in the description of this episode so people can reach out to you and work with you if they feel called, honey. Thank you so much. Thank you for dialing the Conscious Hotline, and keeping it hot and conscious out there in the world, okay?
Thank you. Love you.
Love you
It's
for
always
it.
a pleasure.
Ciao.